Okay, back again. That first one didn't quite take. Some of it did, so this is the other part. And the more I have read about this, the more important I think it is for this time and this place. So here we go. The children of Fatima. Here's the second part. The villagers' attitudes went from skepticism to utter content, and the children suffered many insults. On June 17th, 1917, about 50 people went with the children to the cove. While the children saw a flash of light again, followed by the apparition of Our Lady, and this is a quote, "The lady, I would like you to come on the 13th of next month and pray the rosary, and to pray the rosary every day. Later I will tell you what I want." And Lucia says, "I want to go to heaven." And the lady said, "I will take Jacinta and Francisco shortly, but you will have to stay here for some time. Jesus wants to use you to make me known and loved. He wishes to establish devotion to my Immaculate Heart throughout the world. I promise salvation to whoever embraces it. These souls will be dear to God." Am I to stay here alone? That was from Lucia. "No, my daughter," says the lady. "Are you suffering a great deal? Don't lose heart. I will never forsake you. My Immaculate Heart will lead you to God." Then the lady went up toward the east. Before departing, a villager said that she heard a noise like a rocket way far off and a small cloud over the tree rise and more slowly toward the east. So now we're in July. July 13th, the 3 children and 2,000 to 3,000 people went to see the lady. The beautiful lady appeared above an oak tree in the grove, and the lady said, "I want you to come here on the 13th of next month and continue to pray the rosary every day in honor of Our Lady of the Rosary, in order to obtain peace for the world and the end of the war, because only she can help you. Continue to come here every month. In October, I will tell you who I am and what I want. I will perform a miracle." Lucia made requests for some sick people, and Mary replied that she would cure some, but not others. Quote, "Sacrifice yourselves for sinners, and say many times, especially if when you make a small sacrifice, say, 'O Jesus, it is for the love of you, for the conversion of sinners, and reparation for the sins committed against the Immaculate Heart of Mary.'" Then Mary opened her hands, and rays of light came out from them, and they seemed to just penetrate the earth, revealing to the children a terrifying vision of hell full of demons, lost souls, and indescribable horrors. The vision of hell is the first of the secrets. "You have seen hell, where the souls of the poor sinners go. To save them, God wishes to establish in the world devotion to my Immaculate Heart. If what I say to you is done," says the lady, "many souls will be saved, and there will be peace. The war is going to end, but if people do not cease offending God, a worse one will break out during the pontificate of Pius XI. When you see at night, illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is a great sign given to you by God, that He is about to punish the world for its crimes by means of war, famine, persecutions of the Church and of the Holy Father. To prevent this, I shall come to ask for the consecration of Russia to my Immaculate Heart and communion of reparation on the first Saturdays. If my requests are heeded, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. If not, she will spread her errors throughout the world, causing wars and persecution of the Church. The good will be martyred. The Holy Father will have much to suffer. Various nations will be annihilated. In the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph. The Holy Father will consecrate Russia to me, and she will be converted, and a period of peace will be granted to the world. This concludes the second secret. The third part was revealed in the year 2000 at a beatification of Francisco and Jacinta. When you say the rosary, say this prayer after each mystery. O my Jesus, forgive us and save us from the fires of hell. Lead all souls to heaven, especially those who are in the most need. And she disappears. In August of 1917, there were stories of the apparition began to reach the anti-secular and anti-religious press. Fake news against religion. Many biases and negative reports were circulating. So the mayor kidnapped the children. Then they were interrogated about the secrets, but they would not tell. Now they were threatened, they were promised money, and they were thrown into jail. Then they were even threatened with death, but they would not tell the secrets of the lady. Mary came to them then and said, go again to the cove and continue to say the rosary every day. She said she will perform a miracle, but it would have been a better miracle, or I said greater miracle, than it would have been if they had not been kidnapped. I guess if people wouldn't have been sinners again. And then she rose toward the east and disappeared. The children prayed for hours, prostrate. They go as long as they could without eating or drinking as a way of penance for sinners. On September 13th, 1917, very large crowds came to Fatima from many directions. And she said, quote, continue to pray the rosary in order to obtain the end of the world. In October, our Lord will come, as well as Our Lady Dolores, Our Lady of Carmel. Saint Joseph will appear with the child Jesus to bless the world. God is pleased with your sacrifices. He does not want you to sleep with the rope on, but only to wear it in the daytime. For some reason, they put ropes around their waists, and they would tie knots in them. Now, I don't know if that was a way of, holding on to maybe how many rosaries they did, or I'm really not sure. So I continued. So it says, quote, yes, I will cure some, but not others. In October, I will perform a miracle so that all may believe. And she rose and disappeared toward the east. Then on October 13th, 1917, tens of thousands of people came to the cove. Despite this terrible storm that had happened the night before and happened even that day, they walked barefoot. Many walked barefoot, praying the rosary, and by mid-morning, it turned bad again, and heavy rain began to fall, flashes of lightning. Then there was a big flash, and Mary appeared. Quote, I want to tell you that a chapel is to be built here in my honor. I am the Lady of the Rosary. Continue to pray the rosary every day. The war is going to end, and soldiers will return home soon. Again, Lucia asked the lady to cure the sick. Quote, some yes, but others, they must amend their lives and ask for forgiveness. Do not offend the Lord our God any more, because he is already so much offended. Then opening her hands, the children saw light again. The lady rose up. Now the light kept coming from her hands as she rose up and began to even reflect off the sun. And then all of a sudden, as they call this is the day the sun danced. And the sun started turning different colors. I don't know, pinks, blues, reds, I don't know what color, green. And then it started to come down really close toward the earth and then pop right back up like you were bouncing a ball. And then there was a stillness of the leaves of the tree where she used to stand above, but there was howling wind all around, and yet those leaves did not move. There was a complete drying of land and restoration of the clothes, but not just dried. They were dried as if they had all just got their clothes pressed and they were hanging up from a laundromat. Nah, not a laundromat, like a cleaner's. So there were cures of the blind and lame, and it was reported being seen from 25 miles away. Doubters became believers, and skeptics became believers on that day. Around that time in Europe, as we know, there was the flu going around. That was in autumn of 1918, and Francisco had just received his first Holy Communion, and after he received that, he died the next day on April 4th. Jacinta, hers is a very sad story. She also got the flu and just was so sick with it, and then got pleurisy. I've had that. If anybody has it, it's very painful. It feels like a heart attack, pneumonia. And then she was transferred to a hospital where she was, like, say, begging for penance and the Holy Communion. So finally, when they got her up to a hospital, they realized that one of her ribs was infected, probably from whatever they did before. And, sorry, old nurse. Okay. And they would not bring her communion, but they did come and hear her confession. They came and heard her confession, and then the next day she died. So she didn't get her communion. I also wanted to tell you this backlog to the story. It was like Jacinta did tell her mother. And while her brothers and sisters just laughed at her, her mom took her to the priest at church, trying to get her to recant, and the priest was trying to get her to recant. But she would not do it, and then the news of the vision spread throughout, the village, and everybody was being made fun of in their family. Also with Lucia is also very sad because her mother thought that she was not telling the truth, that she was lying, and that she was lying just to get attention. And instead of, maybe taking her to church, she got beat and ridiculed by her mom, which is very, very sad. So she was also made fun of her because the lady had asked her to learn how to read, which the mother was not privy to giving her that kind of thing. So Lucia learned how to read in a convent, and I think it was the Sisters of Dorothea. That's funny because I think, was it Dorothea that was coming down with Mary? I'm not sure. Mary told Lucia, remember, and for us to remember, the first Saturdays of 5 consecutive months, okay? You have to go to Holy Communion, you have to go to penance, and you have to, now this is for 5 consecutive times in a row on the Saturdays, then you're to recite 5 decades of the rosary, which is just one rosary. And keep her company, she said, while meditating on the rosary. Because, like I said, like the one is, I don't know, maybe the crucifixion. Well, that's really, really sad. So you would have to be thinking about her. Like I would always think of that as me being a mom. That I couldn't imagine, say, like, your child dying right in front of you. It must be so sad. And she says to add, for 15 minutes every time we go through those, to think about those things, and the purpose is to make reparations with her. The lady also said to Lucia that the Lord says we must not allow the children of darkness to be wiser than the children of light. So I'll leave you with this. Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. So I will come back one more time and we will do a rosary together. Thanks for listening.